In the year 1588, the world held its breath. Spain, an empire forged in fire and conquest, ruled the seas, or so it believed. From the shipyards of Lisbon and Cadiz, King Philip II unleashed his masterwork, the Grand Armada. 130 ships, 30,000 men, a floating city of iron, wood, and unshakable ambition. Its divine mission, to sail north, crush the defiant Queen Elizabeth of England, and extinguish the flame of Protestantism forever. This was not merely a fleet, it was a crusade, blessed by the Pope and fueled by the wealth of a global empire. As these leviathans caught the wind, their magnificent sails blotting out the sun, they sailed into history unaware that the ocean itself held a darker, more terrifying plan for them all. The Armada was an instrument of God's will, a testament to Spain's power. But the waves that carried it whispered of a different fate, a destiny not of glory, but of shadow and silence. The English Channel, a narrow strip of water separating an island nation from the might of a continent, became the first crucible. England's fleet, led by men like Sir Francis Drake, was a different kind of beast. They were smaller, faster, more cunning. They were wolves against lions, pirates against crusaders. Under the command of the Duke of Medina Sidonia, a nobleman with no sea experience, the Spanish Crescent Formation was a fortress at sea seemingly impenetrable. But the English refused a direct, honorable fight. They harassed the Armada's flanks, their long-range cannons chipping away at the Spanish morale and supplies. Then came the night of chaos. Off the coast of Calais, as the Armada lay at anchor, the English unleashed their most diabolical weapon, hellburners. 8 ships, packed with pitch, gunpowder, and anything that would burn, were set ablaze and sent drifting toward the terrified Spanish fleet. Panic erupted. To escape the inferno, Spanish captains cut their anchor cables, the one thing holding their disciplined formation together. The fortress was broken, the fleet scattered into the unforgiving North Sea, a disorganized mob of terror-stricken ships. The first blow was not from a cannon, but from fear itself. With their formation shattered and the English nipping at their heels, the Armada had only one path home, a perilous journey north, around the savage, storm-battered coasts of Scotland and Ireland. And it was here that their true enemy revealed itself. Not England, not cannon fire, but nature's own unholy fury. The heavens turned black. A storm, a monster born from the depths of the Atlantic, rose to meet them. This was no ordinary tempest. It was a meteorological nightmare. Winds screamed like 1,000 banshees, tearing gargantuan sails to ribbons and snapping masts as if they were twigs. Waves, taller than the ships themselves, rose up like liquid mountains, their foaming peaks hungry to swallow men and timber whole. Rain and hail lashed down, blurring the line between sea and sky into a single, swirling vortex of gray despair. On decks slick with seawater and blood, sailors prayed to saints who could no longer hear them. The rhythmic creak of wood turned into a constant shriek of splintering hulls. The winds drove them relentlessly toward the jagged, rocky shores of Ireland, a place the Spanish called the Devil's Teeth. One by one, the titans of the sea were tossed, broken, and devoured by the relentless, churning chaos. The storm was a physical terror, but what followed was a torment of the soul. As the fleet disintegrated, ships vanished. They didn't just sink. They were erased from existence, swallowed by the fog and the abyss without a trace. Vessels would be sailing alongside each other one moment, and in the next, a wall of gray mist would descend, and a ship would simply be gone, its crew's screams absorbed by the howling wind. Survivors who washed ashore spoke of more than just the storm. They whispered of phantom lights on the water, of eerie shapes moving just beneath the waves, and of ghostly whispers carried on the wind, the last cries of thousands of men lost to the cold, dark depths. The sea itself seemed haunted, a malevolent entity enjoying its feast. Had the ocean itself turned against them, or were the souls of the drowned sailors now bound to the waves, forever crying out in a chorus of the damned? The line between reality and nightmare dissolved in the icy Atlantic waters. The Armada was no longer a fleet. It was a procession of ghost ships, captained by despair and sailing toward oblivion. The mystery wasn't just where the ships went, but what they had become in their final, terrifying moments. When the winds finally calmed and the sea receded, the scale of the disaster became horrifyingly clear. Of the more than 130 ships that had sailed with such pomp and pride, barely half limped back to Spain. The rest lay shattered on the Irish coast, sunk in the North Sea, or simply lost, their final resting places known only to the silent deep. 20,000 men soldiers, sailors, priests never returned. Spain's pride lay broken, its treasury depleted, and its aura of invincibility shattered forever. The empire was wounded, not by English cannons, but by the hubris of believing it could command the very elements. And the sea, the great, dark, indifferent sea, kept its secrets. It became a graveyard of shadows, a monument to fear and forgotten ambition. Even today, on the wild shores of Ireland, locals say that when a storm rolls in from the Atlantic, you can still hear the tolling of Spanish bells from sunken galleons and the faint, mournful cries of sailors lost to the Armada of Shadows. The ocean remembers, and it never gives up its dead. Thank you for watching. If you were captivated by this story, follow our channel for more tales from the depths of history.